No one ever prepares you for the silence that follows. One day, you're sharing coffee and laughter, and the next, you're staring at an empty chair. The loss of a spouse is not just heartbreaking, it's life-altering. But even in the grief, there is a path forward. And today, we're going to talk about 6 of the most important steps every senior must take, not just to survive, but to continue living with strength, purpose, and peace. When your spouse dies, one of the first and most overwhelming challenges you may face is figuring out how to navigate the sudden shift in your financial life. For years, perhaps even decades, you shared responsibilities, whether that meant your spouse handled the bills, managed the investments, or simply contributed to a joint financial rhythm that kept your household running smoothly. Suddenly, that dynamic changes. And in the fog of grief, numbers, documents, and legal jargon can feel impossible to face. But this moment, right now, is when clarity and action matter the most. The first step is to get a clear picture of your financial landscape. Begin by locating and organizing all essential financial documents. This includes bank statements, retirement account information, life insurance policies, mortgage or rental agreements, credit card balances, utility bills, and any loans. Even if you're familiar with some of this paperwork, double-checking everything is vital. Often, there are assets or recurring expenses your spouse may have managed independently. Missing even one of these can lead to confusion, or worse, financial vulnerability. Once you've gathered your documents, take a moment to assess what income sources are still available to you. Social Security survivor benefits may be available, and in some cases, pensions can be partially transferred or continued. But these systems aren't always automatic. You must file the necessary paperwork. Call Social Security and your spouse's employer or pension administrator. If your spouse was receiving annuities, look into the terms of those as well. Each source of income needs to be verified, updated, and in many cases, reassigned. Next, consider the bank accounts. Were they joint, sole? What happens to the money depends heavily on how these accounts were set up. If you're not listed as a joint account holder, access may be temporarily frozen until legal documents are provided. This is where a death certificate becomes essential. You'll need multiple certified copies. Most experts recommend getting at least 10, to send to banks, insurance companies, and government agencies. Without them, your financial wheels may grind to a halt. It's also crucial to evaluate your monthly expenses. Your lifestyle will shift, sometimes dramatically. Perhaps there's now 1 car instead of 2, 1 medical insurance policy instead of 2, and maybe even less dining out or travel. On the other hand, some expenses may increase. You may now need help with tasks your spouse used to handle, such as home maintenance or driving. Build a new budget around your current needs, not your past habits. And don't assume that simpler means cheaper. Living alone can sometimes cost more in unexpected ways. Now, let's talk about something uncomfortable: financial predators. Unfortunately, the period following the death of a spouse is when seniors are especially vulnerable to scams. Strangers, and sometimes even distant acquaintances, may suddenly offer to help with investments, home repairs, or business opportunities. Always pause and ask someone you trust to review any offers before signing anything. A reputable financial advisor or even a financially savvy friend or family member can serve as a buffer against pressure or manipulation. Never rush financial decisions. Grief clouds judgment, and time is your ally in these moments. A related step is to simplify wherever possible. If you had multiple credit cards, consider consolidating. If your bills were paid manually, set them to autopay if that feels comfortable. Fewer moving pieces means fewer things to worry about. And while you're simplifying, take stock of any insurance policies: life, auto, homeowners, and health. Ensure everything is still in your name, properly adjusted, and suited to your new reality. This leads us into legal matters, which are just as urgent. Your will, power of attorney, and health care proxy may all need updating. For example, if your spouse was your power of attorney or executor of your will, you'll need to designate a new one. These documents are your safety net, ensuring your wishes are followed if you become unable to make decisions on your own. It's best to consult an estate lawyer, someone who can walk you through the updates without overwhelming you. Also, check the beneficiaries on your retirement accounts and insurance policies. Many people forget to update these, assuming that changes will happen automatically after a spouse's death. They won't. If your spouse was listed as the beneficiary and you haven't updated it, those funds could end up locked in legal limbo, or worse, passed to someone you never intended. While you're reviewing these documents, think about property titles. Was the house in both of your names? If not, transferring the title might be necessary. The same goes for vehicles and other valuable assets. These changes are not just about ownership, they're about access. You want to ensure that you're not caught off guard when you need to sell, downsize, or make legal decisions in the future. Above all, don't be afraid to ask for help. Managing your finances and legal affairs after the loss of your spouse is not a sign of weakness, it's a courageous act of rebuilding. You're not just handling money and paperwork. You're protecting your future, preserving your independence, and laying a new foundation in the midst of heartbreak. It's okay to take it one step at a time. It's okay to cry while you do it. Just remember, every form you fill out, every call you make, every account you update, it's not just administration. It's empowerment, and it's how you begin to move forward with strength, one decision at a time. When your spouse passes away, it's not just your heart that aches. Your body, your energy, even your immune system begins to feel the impact of grief. It's not something we always talk about, but the connection between emotional loss and physical health is real and powerful. After years, sometimes a lifetime, of shared routines, meals, reminders to take medication, and even casual daily encouragement to go for a walk or get a checkup, that silent support suddenly disappears. And in the midst of mourning, many seniors unknowingly neglect their own well-being, as if taking care of themselves somehow means they're moving on too quickly. But here's the truth. Protecting your health now is not just about survival, it's an act of love, for yourself, and for those who still care deeply about you. Grief can manifest physically. You might feel more tired than usual. Sleep patterns get disrupted, appetite fades or spikes, and chronic conditions like blood pressure or arthritis can worsen. Some seniors find themselves skipping meals, forgetting medications, or losing motivation to attend doctor appointments. It may not seem urgent at first, especially when you're trying to just get through the day without breaking down. But letting your health slide, even for a short period, can lead to consequences that are far more serious down the line. This is the time to double down on routine care. If your spouse used to remind you to refill prescriptions or keep track of appointments, try writing these tasks down or setting reminders on your phone or calendar. If managing it all feels like too much, ask a family member or friend to help set up a simple plan, someone who can gently check in and make sure you're staying on track. If you've lost the person who used to care for you, now you must become the one who chooses to care for yourself. And don't ignore the emotional part of your health. Sadness, yes, but depression can creep in too. There's no shame in feeling deeply lost or confused after losing your partner. You might even question your purpose. But if days pass and you can't eat, sleep, or get out of bed, that's not just grief. That's your body and mind asking for help. Talk to your doctor. There are therapies, support groups, and sometimes even medications that can help you through the hardest stretch without numbing your emotions. You're not broken, you're human. And your pain deserves attention, not silence. This brings us to something many people overlook during grief, the need for connection. When your spouse dies, the house gets quieter. The phone rings less. The small daily conversations, what's for dinner, how was your day, who called today, all vanish in a heartbeat. That silence is more dangerous than people realize. Isolation is one of the most serious threats to a senior's emotional and physical health. It doesn't just hurt your heart, it can increase the risk of cognitive decline, stroke, and even shorten your lifespan. And yet, reaching out can feel awkward or even painful. Maybe your closest couple friends now feel like a reminder of what you've lost. Maybe you're not sure who to talk to, or you're afraid of becoming a burden. But here's something important. People want to be there for you. Family, friends, neighbors, they may not always know how to offer support, but they're more than willing to sit with you, talk with you, or simply listen. Let them. Start small. Call someone once a week. Accept a lunch invitation, even if you'd rather stay in bed. Visit your local community center or church group. Look for a grief support group in your area. Being around others who understand the weight of your loss can be incredibly healing. You're not alone, and when you start surrounding yourself with people, even if only for an hour or two, it makes the nights feel less heavy. If leaving the house feels overwhelming, there are still ways to stay connected. Today's technology allows seniors to attend virtual meetups, video chat with grandchildren, or even join online hobby groups. Learning to use a smartphone or tablet might feel intimidating at first, but once you get the hang of it, it opens a door to a world of support, right from your couch. You might also consider volunteering. It may seem like the last thing you want to do when you're grieving, but offering your time to help others can provide new purpose. It reminds you that you still have value, wisdom, and experience to offer the world. Whether it's reading to children at a library, assisting at a food bank, or visiting with other seniors at a care center, your time matters. And then there are the unexpected sources of connection, like pets. If you're physically able, adopting a dog or cat can provide companionship that fills part of the emotional void. Animals love unconditionally, and their presence can lift your spirits in a way that words sometimes can't. All of this, taking care of your health and staying connected, isn't just about coping. It's about rediscovering life after loss. You are still here, and while the pain of losing your spouse doesn't disappear, your ability to keep living, to keep loving, and to keep finding joy in small things, that ability is still within you. And it begins by choosing to care for your body, your heart, and the connections that make life meaningful. One of the most difficult things to grasp after losing your spouse is the need to redefine your identity. For years, maybe even decades, you were part of a pair, a team that moved through life together. Every decision, every celebration, every struggle was shared. And now, suddenly, you're faced with questions you never prepared for. Who am I without them? What does my life look like now? These aren't easy questions, and they don't have quick answers. But the process of rediscovery, while painful at times, can also be deeply empowering. You might start by noticing how quiet the house has become. Not just in sound, but in energy. Maybe your spouse used to play music in the mornings, or talk to the plants, or chat during coffee. Without that energy, everything can feel unfamiliar. And yet, this is where your opportunity begins. This is your moment to ask, what do I love, on my own? What brings me peace? What sparks curiosity? It might be something you gave up years ago for the sake of partnership, painting, gardening, reading, baking, or writing. It could be something entirely new, like learning a language or joining a walking club. The key is to let yourself explore, without judgment. This process doesn't mean forgetting your spouse. In fact, it's the opposite. It means continuing the journey you shared, while also allowing your individual self to breathe. Think of it like a second act, not a replacement, but a renewal. It's okay if some days all you can manage is sitting quietly and remembering. But on the days when you have energy, lean into the things that make you feel alive. Start with something small, like making a favorite dish or rearranging a room. Then, when you're ready, think bigger, a day trip, a class, a new routine. It also helps to make new goals, even if they seem modest. These goals don't need to be grand or public, they just need to mean something to you. Maybe it's walking a mile every morning, organizing old photos, or finally visiting a place you both dreamed of. Goals give you momentum. They give you purpose. And purpose is what keeps you moving forward, even through grief. There's also incredible strength in giving yourself permission to enjoy life again. Guilt has a sneaky way of creeping in. You may find yourself smiling at a joke or laughing with a friend, and then suddenly feel a pang of sorrow, like you've betrayed the memory of your spouse by finding joy. But joy is not betrayal. Joy is survival. Your spouse loved you. They would want you to find moments of light. They would want you to live, not just exist. Remembering them doesn't mean staying stuck in sadness. It means carrying their love into the new version of your life. As you begin to rebuild your identity, don't be afraid of change. Maybe you decide to downsize your home, adopt a simpler lifestyle, or relocate closer to family. Maybe you decide to embrace your independence and stay exactly where you are. Whatever path you choose, it should reflect your values, your hopes, your sense of possibility. You are still writing your story, and it's worth telling. At the same time, part of healing involves honoring your spouse's memory. That's where legacy comes in. Legacy isn't just about money or material possessions, it's about meaning. It's about the ways your spouse touched lives, the lessons they taught, the love they gave. It's about making sure that who they were doesn't fade into silence. Start by finding ways to share their story. This could be through photo albums, journals, or even casual conversations with grandchildren. Don't be afraid to speak their name. Talk about the funny things they did, the advice they gave, the quirks that made them who they were. Sharing stories keeps them present. It allows others to know them through your eyes. You might also create something lasting in their honor. It could be a memorial garden, a donation to a cause they cared about, or volunteering in a way that reflects their values. Some people set up scholarships or fundraisers. Others simply frame a favorite quote and hang it by the door. These small acts become sacred spaces for remembrance. If your spouse had unfinished dreams, consider how you can carry them forward. Maybe they wanted to finish a book, visit a country, or support a particular charity. By stepping into those dreams, you don't just remember them, you live them. And that gives their absence a powerful sense of presence. Legacy also involves the impact your spouse had on you. Who did they help you become? What strength did they help you uncover? The way you carry yourself now, the resilience you show, the kindness you extend to others, that, too, is part of their legacy. Every time you offer a helping hand or share wisdom learned through your shared years, you're keeping their spirit alive. Grief will always be a part of you, but it doesn't have to define you. You have the ability to redefine your life, to reconnect with yourself, and to make sure the love you shared becomes something that continues to grow, through your actions, your words, and your courage. Because healing isn't forgetting. Healing is remembering with purpose. And you're more capable of that than you might think.